What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Deep Thoughts with Dill. Today we got Nina here. Nina's going to drop some knowledge on us, share some of her experience, tell us a little bit about herself and her story. It's an honor to have you on here, Nina.
Thanks.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Thanks for putting me on your channel.
Of course. So you grew up in St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis, Missouri. Born during a blizzard.
Ooh.
Yeah. And actually, I was born on January 5th at 5 a.m. at 5 pounds.
Small baby.
Yeah.
Really small.
I'm a small human.
Yeah. Okay, right on. So, like in the Midwest, do they get a lot of blizzards? I've heard they do.
I mean, in the winter, we used to get a lot of snow.
Okay.
Sledding was big. Down, like, in Forest Park, outside of the art museum, there's this big hill, and that's kind of where, like, everyone sleds in the winter. It's cool.
That is cool.
Art Hill, yeah.
Would you consider St. Louis or Missouri the Midwest?
Yes.
Okay.
The gateway to the West. That's what the arch is.
That's what that represents.
The gateway to the West.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cause like my uncle. I told you my uncle's from St. Louis, and he's from Clayton, where you're from.
Yeah, yeah.
And he told me we would go out there, and like I never went in the arch, but I've seen it. And then we would go to Cardinals games, and then go, down to Southern Missouri for the.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the Blues are St. Louis, the Cardinals. We used to have the Rams, so it's a pretty big, like, drinking town. People like to drink and
Okay.
center around sports and stuff.
Ooh, I can.
It's actually a pretty cool city. If you're not at it.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
I want to say like 95, maybe even 100% of the people I've met from St. Louis are really cool people.
Yeah.
I have a friend from back home who's from North St. Louis, yeah, and he was kind of like a mentor to me. But
That's kind of like a rough part of town.
that's
North
what
St. Louis.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
What goes on over there?
There's just a lot of, like, abandoned houses and buildings, and it's, the majority of people in North St. Louis are African American. Like, poverty is pretty bad over there, and it's just pretty rough. I mean, when I was using, that's where I would go to buy my drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of shootings. It's like not normal to hear like gunshots in the city, any side of the city really. Like whether it's North City, the West Side, South Side, like hearing gunshots is normal.
Okay. There's a lot of violence out in St. Louis.
Yeah, there's violence. I mean, cars getting broken into, stuff like that.
Okay. And a lot of dope.
A lot of dope. Like, at one point it seemed like everybody was a dope. Everybody was a dope man. Like,
Oh wow.
yeah, I mean, there were times where I was, like, waiting to pick up some dope and someone else would pull up on me. And, like, I'd give them my money and then I'd see the other person I was supposed to be buying dope from, like, pull up. Like, oh, shit. Like,
Awkward.
yeah, like, or like I'd be going to buy drugs from my normal dealer and then I'd pull off and somebody would like stop me and be like, yo, try this shit, like I was just, I guess it's certain areas, I don't know, but.
Okay. And what was it like, what were your parents like?
I grew up in like a middle class family in, a middle class part of town. I'm Jewish, both my parents are Jewish, and I'm an only child. Both my parents worked full time. So I guess around like middle school age, I was home alone a lot. Like I'd come home after school and like fix myself something to eat, and my parents would get home around like 5:30, 6:30, you know. So I just had a lot of time to myself. Although, like, when I was younger, I had a lot of friends. And my mom was really sick. She was a type 1 diabetic.
Okay.
And would have, like, really bad low blood sugars. Like, we'd be at,
Yeah.
I don't know, the bank or grocery store, and she would kind of, like, black out. And I knew that she would, like, need milk or need sweets or something. But because I was young, like, people didn't really listen to me, so the ambulance would get called. And a couple times she tried to, like, karate chop my dad. Just kind of really bad low blood sugars with her type 1 diabetes. And so a lot of the time when she was sick or in the hospital, I would stay with friends and their siblings and stuff. So I was never, like, lonely or anything. Just, I was always fine being an only child, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Do you think it made you independent?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely made me independent. I think, honestly, my mom's illness was sort of traumatizing when I was younger. I remember, like, one summer I was at camp, and so I'd get dropped off every day for day camp, and I would, like, cry and have these panic attacks because I thought something was going to happen to my mom while, like, I wasn't with her. And that went on, like, the entire summer. Like, every day at camp, she'd have to come pick me up.
Ooh, wow, that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I was scared. I had a lot of anxiety as a kid that, like, kind of manifested as stomach aches.
Yeah.
And it's, like, I don't know, I guess in the 90s, like, it wasn't, like, you know, oh, kids have anxiety, you know? So it's like, oh, I had a stomach ache, and they'd taken me to the hospital, and there was nothing wrong. And it was just, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have anxiety now, or maybe they just weren't diagnosing it back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see how that would be traumatizing too, or
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
Like,
I think, like, mental health disorders are, like, way better diagnosed these days, especially, like, in kids.
yeah,
You know, I think we just, like, know more
yeah,
about it than they did back then.
totally. Is type 1 diabetes, is that the one that you're born with?
You could be born with it. You can get it at, like, a really young age. I think my mom was, like, 12
Okay.
when she got it. And it doesn't run in our family, so I don't know.
How she got it?
Yeah, how she got it. She may have just been sick and then something happened with her pancreas, or I don't know. Because your pancreas doesn't produce insulin, is what, you know, at all.
That's really what diabetes is.
Yeah,
It's when your pancreas isn't producing insulin.
yes.
Okay.
And your pancreas has other functions, but that's, like, the main thing. Like, we can eat and our bodies, like, naturally even themselves out. Diabetes, it's not like that. So.
Right. My dad is a type 2 diabetic, but he didn't get it till, like, I want to say his early 40s.
Yeah.
And I mean, but he's, he's on insulin, he's on medications.
Yeah.
And so I've learned a little bit about it. I didn't know it was so fucking serious. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
some serious shit. Like, he didn't know what was wrong with him. And then he felt like shit. And he went into the hospital one day and they're like, hey, your sugars are at like 500,
Yeah.
which is bad.
Bad, really high.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can die from low blood sugars or high blood sugars. I think you just die a lot slower with high blood sugars. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know that much about type 2, but diabetes, I just know that, you know, it can come on later in life with, like, bad eating habits and things like that too.
Totally.
But yeah.
How old were you when you first started using?
I was 12.
12.
Yeah, my parents had decided to, like, rebuild our house. We had, like, a little tiny house, and they decided to, like, build, you know, a second story and, like, kind of push it out. And I had the whole upstairs to myself. Like my bedroom and then a guest bedroom, bathroom up there, and my parents worked. So I feel like at 12 I started to get just like really curious and started like snooping through their stuff.
Yeah.
And I found my dad's weed and porn collection, which like wasn't that surprising to me because there were always like Playboys in the bathrooms in my house growing up, like kind of like an open house. Like my mom would walk around naked and it was like just normal or whatever. But yeah, I started like snooping and finding all kinds of stuff, and then, you know, if I have friends over from school, like show them, and I guess that's kind of how I started smoking weed. I was about 12. I found my dad's, you know. It's like, oh, he smokes it. It's all right, you know.
Yeah. Did you get high the first time you smoked pot?
Yeah.
You did?
I did. Yeah, I did. I ended up, I guess, telling my parents I was like studying over at a friend's house after school, and we went and like sat in a circle and smoked like a blunt. In these, like, we called them the Russian apartments. They were these apartments, and like I guess a bunch of Russians lived there. I don't know why we called them the Russian apartments, but the like basement of those apartments was a laundry room, and we just like, it wasn't even a friend's, it was just like somebody's. We just like went down there and smoked, and I feel like I remember like kind of tripping, like just got really silly, goofy, fun, laughing, and kind of like walked around the neighborhood and just, yeah, it was a good time. And then I remember coming home and like I knew I looked high, you know.
Yes.
But my parents didn't suspect anything. I just told them I'm so tired. I studied so hard, you know. And yeah. And then not long after that, I got caught. I think it was like a Friday after school, and I had like a bunch of my guy friends over. And we got high in the basement and like ate all the food in the house, and like had like the Playboys laying all over the place, and I had forgotten that my grandma was coming to pick me up. So I hear the horn honking, and I was like, oh shit. So I like rushed all my friends out the back door and just like left with my grandma. And I told her, of course, also told her I was just really tired. And I was supposed to spend the night at her house, and it's probably like around dinner time, you know, like 6 o'clock when my parents got home from work or whatever. And I got a phone call, or the phone rang at my grandma's house, and she walks over to me and she's like, it's for you. I was like, okay, and I picked up the phone, and my mom was like, Nina, I'm gonna fucking kill you. She was like, you're not sneaky, like the whole house stinks of weed, there's food wrappers and food all over the place, and Dad's Playboys everywhere. I was like, oh shit. And she came and picked me up, and then